Right now, if you stood in my village here in Okinawa and looked down the lane in the summer sun, you would see something that puzzles every visitor. Most of the roofs shimmer with heat, but a few of them, the oldest ones, are painted a soft, chalky white, and those houses are different. Walk into one of them at the hottest hour of the afternoon, as I did 1,000 times as a boy, and the air inside is calm and bearable, while the house next door bakes like an oven. This morning, I stirred up a bucket of that same white coating with my own hands, a powder and water, nothing more, for the roof of my chicken coop and the metal roof of my shed. The powder cost me a few dollars. The brush I have owned for 30 years, and what that humble whitewash does to a roof in the summer sun is something the air conditioning industry would very much prefer you never think about. In a few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what it is, how to mix it, and where it belongs, and just as important, where it does not. My name is Kenji Takara. I am 81 years old, and I have lived my whole life on the island of Okinawa in the far south of Japan, where the summer sun is not a gentle visitor but a hammer. My family has built and kept its own buildings on this land for more generations than anyone can count, through heat that would wilt a stone, and they did it for centuries without a single machine to cool them. They did it with understanding of where the heat actually enters a home and how to turn it away at the door instead of fighting it in the hallway. The old builders of Japan plastered their most precious buildings, the kura, the storehouses where a family kept its rice, its silk, its treasures, in thick white lime, and those white buildings stayed cool and dry inside while the world outside blazed. That knowledge is old, it is cheap, and it works today exactly as it worked 400 years ago. And by the end of this video, you will understand why your own roof is quietly costing you hundreds of dollars every summer, and what a few dollars of old wisdom can do about it. But before I show you, I must tell you the part that should make you a little angry. Put your hand, carefully, near the ceiling of your top floor on a hot July afternoon, or climb to the hatch of your attic and simply hold your palm in that air. What you will feel is a furnace. A dark roof under full sun does not merely get warm, it can reach 150, 160 degrees, hot enough to fry an egg, and it pours that heat down into the attic, which pours it down through your ceilings, into your rooms, hour after hour, and then keeps radiating it long after sunset, which is why your bedroom is still stifling at 10 o'clock at night. Your air conditioner downstairs is fighting that furnace with electricity, all day, every day, all summer, and the companies are perfectly content with this arrangement. The power company sells you every kilowatt of that endless fight. The manufacturers sell you a bigger air conditioner when the first one cannot keep up. And the roofing industry keeps selling dark shingles by the millions of squares, dark roofs that drink the sun. Because dark is the fashion, and nobody profits from telling you that the color and coating of your roof might matter more to your summer bills than the machine roaring in your window. There is no monthly bill in a white roof, so nobody sells you one. Quick word before I begin, and I won't bring it up again. Everything I share here, there's far more of it than fits in one video, so I gathered it all into one book, The Takara Method, and right now I'm keeping it at a special price, lower than it'll normally be. The link's in the description, or point your phone at the code on screen. That's all. Now let me show you today's. Now here is where almost everyone goes wrong. And if you do not understand this one thing, you will spend money in all the wrong places and swear the problem cannot be solved. So listen closely. Most people fight summer heat after it is already inside the house. They buy a bigger air conditioner, more fans. They chill the air in the rooms, while the roof above them keeps pouring heat down like an open tap. It is like bailing a boat without plugging the hole. The old builders worked the opposite way, and this is the whole principle of everything I will show you today. Stop the heat at the skin of the building before it ever gets in. And of all the skin of your house, the roof is where the battle is truly fought, because the roof faces the sun squarely all day long. The physics is as simple as a summer shirt. A dark surface absorbs the sun's heat. A white surface reflects it away. You know this in your own body. No one walks out into an August afternoon wearing a black coat, and yet we roof our houses in near black and then pay, every month, to pump the consequences back out with electricity. So the method is this. We make the sun-struck surfaces white, the old way, with lime, and where we cannot whiten the roof itself, we block and vent the heat in the attic beneath it. 2 moves, both cheap, both as old as building itself. The white coating is called lime wash, and in Japan, its refined cousin is shikui, the lime plaster of the storehouses and the castle walls. It is not paint, it is burnt limestone, slaked in water, one of the oldest building materials of mankind, and a bag of hydrated lime at the builder's store costs $10 or $15 and mixes into gallons upon gallons of wash. $5 worth covers a shed, a coop, a porch roof, and here is the first thing you must know before you touch a brush to anything, the detail that decides whether this blessing becomes a mess. Lime wash does not belong on every roof. It bonds beautifully to some surfaces and poorly to others, and knowing which is which, knowing your roof, is the very first step. Lime wash loves a porous or mineral surface. Clay tile, the roofs of the Mediterranean and of old Okinawa. Concrete tile, masonry, rough wood, and it serves well on clean metal roofing, the tin roofs of barns, sheds, porches, and many country houses, where the old farmers of many countries whitewashed their roofs every few summers as routinely as they mended fences. On these surfaces, lime wash grips, cures hard, and turns the sun away for a season or several before it wants renewing. But I will tell you honestly where it does not belong, because I promised you the truth, and not a fairy tale. The ordinary asphalt shingle roof, the dark, gritty shingles on most American houses, is a poor home for lime wash. It does not bond well to the oily, granulated surface. It can look blotchy and wash down onto your siding, and coating shingles may quarrel with the manufacturer's warranty or the rules of a homeowners association. If your house wears asphalt shingles, do not despair and do not skip ahead. The second half of the method, the attic work, is made precisely for you, and it costs nearly as little. But first, for everyone with a metal roof, a tile roof, a shed, a barn, a coop, a porch, a garden building, the wash itself. Here is the recipe, and it has not changed in centuries. Take hydrated lime, sometimes sold as mason's lime or builder's lime, a large bag for $10 to $15. In a bucket, add the lime to water. always the lime into the water, never the water onto the lime, and wear old clothes, gloves, and eye protection, for wet lime is caustic until it cures and will sting skin and eyes. This is the one safety rule of the day, and I will not let you skip it. Stir it to the thickness of whole milk, thinner than paint, thin enough that you doubt it will do anything at all. That doubt is normal. Trust the lime. The old masters added a handful of common salt dissolved in the water, which helps the wash cure hard and cling through rain, and that is the whole of the traditional mix. Lime, water, salt. $5 of material makes enough to coat a good-sized shed roof. $20 to $30 coats the metal roof of a modest house. Now the applying, and the secret here is patience over strength. Sweep or hose the roof clean first. Lime grips clean surfaces and slides off dust. Then brush or roll the wash on in a thin coat. It will look pitiful, streaky, translucent, a ghost of white, and every beginner panics and slathers it on thick. Do not. Thick lime wash cracks and flakes as it dries. Thin lime wash cures into a hard mineral skin. Let the first coat dry. It whitens as it cures, like magic, over a day. Then give it a second thin coat and a third if you wish. 3 thin coats outlast 1 thick one by years. Work in the cool of the morning, never in punishing midday sun which dries it too fast. And mind your footing on any roof. A shed you can reach from a stepladder is a fine first project, and no one over 60 should be dancing on a steep roof for any savings. Do the safe roofs yourself and hire the steep ones out. The coating cost is still pennies. What does it actually do? A dark roof surface in full summer sun can run 150 degrees and more. A white mineral surface, reflecting most of that sunlight away, runs vastly cooler, the difference of 50 degrees and upward on the surface itself, and the space beneath it follows. Your shed stops being an oven. Your coop stays bearable for the birds, and hens in cooler housing keep laying through heat that shuts down their sisters next door. And on a house with a coated metal or tile roof, the cooling load on the whole building drops in a way you feel in the rooms and see on the bill. I will not promise you a number to the dollar, because your sun, your roof, and your house are your own. But the science of cool roofs is settled and plain. Less heat absorbed above means less electricity spent below, and in a hot climate, over a whole summer, that is genuinely hundreds of dollars of fight your air conditioner no longer has to wage. The lime costs $5 to $30 and an honest weekend. You may do the arithmetic yourself. One more honest word about lime, because it is a living material and I want you to know its nature. Lime wash is a renewal coating, not a lifetime one. Weather thins it. Every few summers, you slap on a fresh, thin coat, the way the old villages did, and the way, I will tell you shortly, my own village did together, as a festival of ladders and gossip. This is not a flaw. This is the old bargain, materials that cost nearly nothing, and ask instead for a little of your attention. The modern world sells you the opposite bargain. Coatings that cost hundreds and still fail, just slowly enough that you forget whom to blame. Now, the attic for the shingle-roofed houses, and truly for every house, because even a white roof is helped by what I am about to tell you. If you cannot make the roof reflect the heat, You can stop the heat in the attic before it soaks through your ceilings, and you do it with the two oldest tools of building, shade and breath. First, the breath, ventilation. The attic furnace I had you feel with your palm builds up because hot air is trapped there with nowhere to go. Hot air rises. Give it an exit high and an entry low, and the attic empties itself of heat all day long with no machine at all. Most houses already have soffit vents under the eaves, and some vent at the gable or ridge, and in house after house, those vents are blocked, painted shut, stuffed with insulation pushed carelessly into the eaves, clogged with 40 years of dust. An afternoon in the attic with a flashlight, clearing every soffit vent so air can truly flow in low, and making sure the high vents are open so it can pour out. This costs nothing, nothing at all, and it can drop an attic's temperature by a very great deal. It is the single most neglected free repair in the American house. Second, the shade, the radiant barrier, which is nothing more than giving your attic a parasol. Heat radiates down from the hot roof deck onto everything below it. A sheet of reflective foil, sold in rolls as radiant barrier foil or even heavy builder's foil, stapled to the underside of the rafters, turns that radiation back the way a mirror turns light. The roll costs more than $5, I will be honest. $40 to $80 for a typical attic. But it is a single afternoon stapling. It lasts as long as the house, and in hot country it visibly calms the furnace overhead. Between cleared vents below and foil above, a shingle-roofed house gets most of the blessing of a white roof without touching a shingle. And there is a third layer, the oldest of all, that the whole village used and your house is starving for. Shade on the walls and windows that face the sun. The old Japanese house wore its roof like a wide farmer's hat. Deep eaves that kept the high summer sun off the walls entirely. And where the eaves did not reach, we hung sudare, the woven reed blinds, outside the windows, so the sun was stopped before the glass, not after. A reed or bamboo blind hung outside a west-facing window costs $10 or $15 and does more than the finest curtain inside, because a curtain catches the heat indoors with you, while the sudare refuses it at the wall. Shade the glass outside, whiten what faces the sky, and let the attic breathe. That is the whole armor, and the sun simply finds another house to torment. Let me tell you now about the kura, because it is where I learned all of this without knowing I was learning. In my grandfather's village stood the old storehouse, thick earthen walls under deep white lime plaster, the shikui, renewed by the families every few years in a day of ladders and buckets and laughter that was half work and half festival. As a small boy, I was given the lowest boards to wash white, and I splashed more on myself than on the wall, and my grandmother laughed until she had to sit down. But I remember stepping inside that storehouse on the fiercest afternoon of August, the whole world outside white-hot and screaming with cicadas, and the air within was cool, still, patient, like the air of a cave. No machine, no wire, no bill, just lime, earth, thick walls, and 400 years of people who understood the sun instead of paying to fight it. My grandmother put her hand on the cool white wall and said to me, "The sun is strong, but he is honest. He only comes in where you leave the door open." I have spent my life closing those doors, on my roofs, my walls, my windows, and the sun and I have been at peace ever since. And this is the larger truth, the reason this matters beyond the dollars, though the dollars are real. Every summer, millions of houses fight the sun with electricity, a fight that is paid for by the month, forever, and grows dearer every year, when the fight could be mostly prevented with a bag of lime, a roll of foil, a cleared vent, a reed blind, and the knowledge our great-grandparents held as common sense. The companies did not steal that knowledge from us. They simply buried it under the hum of machines, because prevention is sold once and comfort is billed monthly. To whitewash your shed this weekend, to clear your vents, to hang a blind where the western sun strikes. These are small acts, but they are acts of a particular kind. They make you the kind of household that solves with understanding what others endure with expense. That is self-reliance in its truest, quietest form. Not a bunker and a flag, just a family whose home works with the sun, the rain, the soil, and the seasons, and therefore needs the meter, the store, and the truck a little less each year. That is Matenai. Waste nothing, not the coolness of the night, not the water of the sky, not the reflection of a white wall, and not your money, poured month after month into a fight your grandparents knew how to win with a brush. So tell me, in the comments below, where in this world do you live, and what does your roof wear? Dark shingles, honest tin, old tile? How hot does your attic run? And what does summer do to your bills? Tell me your place and your roof, for I read every message that comes to me, and I would dearly love to know who among you mixes their first bucket of lime wash this season. Thin coats, mind you, thin, and feels their shed, their coop, or their whole house step out of the sun at last. And the next time we sit together, I will show you what those same old builders did under the house. The reason the traditional Japanese home stood on posts with its floor raised above the ground, and how that forgotten gap of shaded, moving air kept whole families cool through summers with no machines at all, and what you can and cannot borrow from that wisdom for a modern house on a slab. Until then, waste nothing, turn the sun away at the door, and remember always that the people who lived closest to the earth understood things that we, with all our roaring machines and all our monthly bills, are only now beginning to remember once again.